Hey everyone, I got a special treat for you today. I was recently interviewed by Radio Vaughn to talk about my life, and of course, that included talking about Inside Human Rights. I talk about this channel, and I also talk about why I created this channel. I feel that part might interest you guys, so I took that segment of the interview and put it on my channel, and you'll be seeing it in just about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But if you do want to watch the whole interview, it's in the description below.
So I think we want to know, what do you do now, right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, right now I am sitting
project.
on a red sofa. So I'm a human rights
Currently,
lawyer.
okay.
Yes. So I'm a human rights lawyer, and for people might think, okay, if I'm a lawyer and I'm barred, I'm certified to work in New York, why am I here? Like, I can't go to court here, and that's totally true. So I basically, for my work, is I'm working as a consultant with different NGOs. The skills that I bring are unique. The education that I got in the United States is incredibly valuable here. It almost just doesn't exist. And so I'm really able to contribute to what these causes, which I'm really happy about. Like, I know that I'm able to make a difference here. And that's just absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's why I went into this field of work. And on top of that, by being a consultant and kind of doing contract to contract work, it allows a lot of flexibility in my time, and so I'm actually able to do side projects that really interest me as well, which now, if I can make a plug, I just started my own YouTube channel called Inside Human Rights, and this is a channel to be an easy introduction to the idea of human rights for everyone. You don't need to be a lawyer to understand it. In fact, actually, if you're a lawyer, it's not going to be good for you, because I'm not going to be using technical terms. I just want to help people understand what are human rights, because a lot of people, especially here in Armenia, have heard that phrase, human rights, but they don't really know what that is, and they don't know how to use it. And you even have human rights advocates who, fight for human rights, but still don't really get what that idea is.
Is it in English?
It is in English. It is English language, so the listeners here, if you're interested, just go on YouTube, search for Insight Human Rights, and I'm the top hit. So there you go.
Very nice.
I think you should have Armenian subtitles if you want. If you want Armenians to.
There we go.
To understand
I'll start hiring some translators to do that.
Nice. Are human rights are the same human rights global, or do human rights change depending on where you are in the world?
Human rights themselves, global. They're universal.
But
now respect for human rights, that changes depending on where you are.
So but who decides which rights are considered human rights, I guess?
The easy answer is that basically after World War II, the international community came together and were like, we had all these mass atrocities that happened. You had the Holocaust, you had abuses of prisoners, you had forced medical testing on people, and they're like, we can't do this anymore. We have to get better than this. And so they created the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And that was the foundational document that, honestly, all human rights have been working off of from the last 70 years. So from that one thing that was mostly inspirational, it wasn't legal, like there was no binding law part of it, but it's the international community saying we need to do this. And people have just worked and worked and worked over the decades to make it a reality in many, many countries. And there's some part of it that applies in every country.
Uh-huh.
So let's say that we have listeners, English speakers, for instance, who listen to our show and say, okay, from now on, I want to know about my rights, and I want to learn more about these things. And what would you, how can you help people who want to start, learning about all these things besides the YouTube channel?
Besides my YouTube channel? Oh, that was my obvious answer.
Well, there's also the YouTube channel.
The reason, though, I actually made this channel is that I'm a voracious eater of news. I go through so much news every day. I have probably 200 items on my daily feed that I quickly process through and read in detail sometimes. So I'm always searching for things that are relevant for me, and that includes human rights. And I recently I've been getting more into YouTube, and I was searching, okay, so who's out there talking about human rights? Who are people that I can learn from? And I found so little. There's almost nothing. And so that's what actually caused me to start this channel, because it's like, this is a huge gap, because there's a huge need, in my opinion. People really should know about their rights, but there's so little information. So I mean, the information, the things I can advise are either technical legal websites, which aren't going to be helpful for the average person, or very, very, very basic introduction, like what is human rights, which that's good to get you the first step, but nowhere beyond that. What is happening now, there are now finally a few MOOCs, massive online courses. I'm missing an O there.
Yes, I know. Yeah, right. I know exactly what you're saying.
There just have been created the first online courses for human rights. Amnesty International, I believe, did the first one 2 years ago, and it was really only about freedom of speech, which is just one of many human rights. So I apologize, I can't give you a better answer because there's just so little out there.